All right, Bo, what you teaching me?
So there's a specific model that we use to help us decide whether we do a deal or not. And the idea is any deal you're looking at, any market you're looking at some point you got to decide, am I going to do it or am I not? And this model gives you a way to, hey, let's test this deal 4 different ways with these 4 feasibility tests. And if they check out, then say coast is clear, let's do the deal. If they don't, if it fails any of these, you might not want to do it.
This is Bo Barron, CCIM.
And this is Timmy Barron, ADHD.
He's going to teach me about commercial real estate. Stick around to the end because we are doing a pop quiz. Can you beat me? Bet you can't. This.
Oh, I just went all ADHD on you. And this is Commercially Speaking.
Yes.
So you remember in episode 1, I told you the story about Elizabethtown and all those new jobs are going to go there. And I went and found a site. We actually put it under contract and we didn't do the deal. You remember that story?
Yeah.
So there's a specific model that we use to help us decide whether we do a deal or not. It's called the strategic analysis model. We actually teach this model in 102, CCIM CI 102. So it's got 4 simple feasibility steps, and I thought I'd just share with you some of those and tell you some stories about how these things can play out in different ways.
Let's pause for a second. He's like right there.
That's fine.
Let's just hold.
We're holding.
It's cool you got Kid Rock to do your landscaping. Ball to ball to bang to bang digga digga.
Hey, when I was in Bootcamp,
yeah,
at the very end of Bootcamp, there's the crucible, and it's like, I don't remember, it's 2.5 days. You get 8 hours of sleep total, I think. You get like 2.5 meals. So you're hungry and tired. At the end of it, you do this forced march back. When you get there, they give you the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, and you become a Marine in that moment. It's at the Iwo Jima Monument. That famous picture of the guys raising the flag, it's right around there on the parade deck, and they form you up and stuff. So we're on that forced march back, and, this is at the maybe 12 weeks into 13-week boot camp. There were no phone calls. I got one phone call on Christmas. No music. You're stripped of all that stuff. And we're on that march back, and I remember somebody passed us driving, like somebody going to work, whatever. And they were playing that Ball with the Ball song.
Yeah.
The Kid Rock
Kid
song.
Rock, yeah. My name is Kid.
And it's like somebody shot me up with adrenaline.
Oh, wow.
I was so energized. And it's like that, just hearing a little bit of music that we were familiar with just completely energized us. Like I was wide awake after that. And I was like, I know that song.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
And that song was a big deal, I think, the year before we went in. So it was
on the same note. Like I remember when you came back, right? You're now back in the world. I'm riding in the car with you. And a song that comes on that came out during that time is Eiffel 59 or Eiffel 57, the blues song. I'm blue, ah-ba-dee-ba-ba-da.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, blue is house and a blue little window and a blue Corvette and everything is blue for
So that's
him.
right up there with like Lump from Presidents of the United States of America or something. Yeah, like just...
Yeah, just your reaction. You're like, what happened to music? When I was gone, you're like, what is this? What did this much change?
So when I got out of boot camp, I think I was about to turn 23, which would have made you 13.
13.
Yeah.
Or about to be 13. Or maybe I was 13.
You had just turned 13 because I got back right after Y2K.
Oh, yeah.
So it was January 2000 when I came. It was right after the tornado.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. I was a tweener.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was a full-fledged teen.
No, you were a full-bore teenager at that point. Yeah.
Around the time you got your Globe and Anchor and my dropped. At Y2K. New Year's, the balls always drop. Anyway.
I think we're ready to proceed.
All right.
So you got these 4 feasibility tests. And the idea is any deal you're looking at, any market you're looking at some point you got to decide, am I going to do it or am I not? And this model gives you a way to, hey, let's test this deal 4 different ways with these 4 feasibility tests. And if they check out, then say coast is clear, let's do the deal.
Oh, okay.
If they don't, if it fails any of these, might not want to do it. It allows you to kind of go through a process and not have to worry so much about what am I forgetting to consider. So here's these 4 feasibility tests. First one is market and competitive analysis. It's the idea that you're going to look around and see what other competing properties are there, what's the market look like in general, and what assumptions can I make that based on these market conditions, based on the competition, if I do this deal, I can expect to get this kind of rents. If I do this deal, I'm probably going to have similar results. Or I'm at least dealing in that market.
Like something that most people would be familiar with is on Zillow. It gives you the estimated, like it could show you the estimated.
The Zestimate, right?
Yes,
Is that what they
the
call it?
Zestimate, and that's based on the market right now. So it could show you the value of your house today.
When I go into a market and I look at it for self-storage, I make a list of all the self-storage facilities. Where are they? What are their websites? What are their rents? What size units do they have? What's their vacancy or what's their occupancy, phone numbers, website? Like, we're just looking at everything else in the market and saying, what kind of rents are they getting? How full are they? Are they mom and pop, or are they, one of the big five? So we're just trying to figure out what's going on there. So we have market and competitive analysis. The next one is location and site. This is where we look at the site itself and say, look, do we have any issues here? Do we have enough parking? Do we, for the use that we would do? If it's a ground up development, what kind of site work am I going to have to do? I'm looking at the site and I'm analyzing it itself. I had a deal in Colombia that we let go because we failed the location and site feasibility test.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll tell that story here in a minute. The third one is political and legal. Here, you're asking the question, will they let me? Am I allowed to do what I want to do here?
So where you would look at zoning, yeah, a business code,
Deed
or a building code.
restrictions, all kinds of different stuff. Yeah.
The master plan.
Yes, we might look at the master plan. These are all the things that could derail you. Will they let me? Somebody else has some rules out there. Might be the master plan, might be zoning stuff. There are communities that don't want self-storage. They don't think it's pretty. Well, it's not pretty. And they just don't want it. Like Brentwood, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, it's hard to get self-storage development done there because they just don't want a lot of that around.
Yeah. Let's make it pretty. That'd be innovative. This would be an idea for me to work on. Pretty self-storage.
Let me know what you come up with there.
Pink. That's all I got now. Pink.
So politically, we got competitive and market and competitive analysis.
Location, site,
political and legal. And the last one is financial feasibility. Like, will it make money? So I'm going to make some projections. I'm going to underwrite it. I'm going to see if I can make it make money on paper. If you cannot make it make money on paper, you can't make it make money in real life. And I told this story in episode 1, Elizabethtown. I loved the site, everything. All the boxes were checked. I ran the analysis, and it was a 1% internal rate of return after 5 years. Like, it failed the financial feasibility test.
Right.
I didn't do that deal. That's the 4 feasibility tests. And if it checks all those boxes, then I feel like I'm released to proceed.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, I'm not going to do the deal.
And this is you personally, or is this like something that most...
I learned this from the CCIM curriculum.
Yeah, okay.
Like, this is the CCIM strategic analysis model.
Yeah.
But I apply it all the time, every time I look at a deal. Every time I'm helping a client look at a deal, I'm applying these 4 feasibility tests and advising my client, hey, look, I don't think we can do this. And sometimes this happens like real quick on the phone. I had a call last week. There's some local guys that are wanting to do multifamily development. They're wanting to build like a street of duplexes or fourplexes or something like that. And they were calling about some of the land listings that we had. And I hadn't talked to these guys before, but I'm talking to them on the phone, and they're driving around. You can tell they're in their vehicle, and they're just asking me about some of the listings that we had. I finally like, what is it you guys are looking to do? It's like, well, we want to build multifamily. We want to build like a street of bunch of duplexes. And I'm like, fellas, you can't do that in any of the listings that we talked about. The political and legal feasibility test is a no-go. Like, you don't have the zoning in any of these to do that kind of development. And I think your chances of getting it rezoned based on where these locations were are very, very slim. Like, I'm happy to help you guys find what you're looking for, but
Sure.
We don't need to talk about these anymore. Like, it's really not an option for you. So sometimes it's applied back of the napkin on a phone call really quick, and you can tell right away, hey, this is a no-go.
Right.
Sometimes the vision is grand enough to try to go fix that. You can go get stuff rezoned, but there's rules about it, and it's got to meet certain criteria to get rezoned. And
Is it worth the headache?
A lot of times it is. Sometimes you can go in and they say, look, it does not meet the requirements. If it doesn't meet all the requirements, it's a no from them. It's just very black and white. It meets the requirements or it doesn't. And then you can appeal, and it might go to the board or the commissioners or something like that, and they can overturn what the planning and zoning staff says. So sometimes it's worth doing that. But you want some stories about how these play out?
I do. Before we jump into the story, because it's been on my mind since that first episode when you talked about, the future demand, right? And teaching me about economic-based analysis and economic-based multiplier, all these jobs that are coming to Elizabethtown. And then you did these feasibility tests on for developing self-storage in between Elizabethtown or in Elizabethtown or somewhere around there. And the 1%, right? 1% return is not worth it. However, if the demand is going to be like it looks like based on the EBA, then in that case, what's on paper is if you were to develop it now and everything stays the same. Let me ask again.
Yeah,
okay.
Rephrase your question if you would.
Oh, yes, I will. Yeah, there's probably half of it that did not make it out of my mouth. So you do the feasibility test. It does not make sense on paper. But those tests, the factors that you used in those tests were based on what is going on right now. The economic-based analysis or the economic-based multiplier were not factors in this test.
Correct.
So do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so let's say you've done all your homework. You see that I'm projecting a 1% internal rate of return. However, with all these new jobs, if it creates a tremendous amount of more demand, supply doesn't catch up to it, rents should increase. So let's say they should increase by 20%. And if they do, then on paper it starts to look like, and we might want to do this. So I go put a group of investors together, take, say, $3 million of their money. I go to the bank and borrow $4 million because this project would have been about a $7 million project.
Yeah.
And we go develop that. I'm signing on that $4 million of debt. I'm taking $3 million from people who trust me. And what I have to tell them is we should be good.
Right.
That's not good enough.
Yeah. Like it's just harder to get that for you.
For me in that situation, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should be okay. Let me take your $3 million, you group of people who I really like, and my job's to make you money. We should be okay. And then I'm going to go home and tell my wife, I just signed on $4 million of debt. Personally, we should be good. Like that's not good enough. It probably would be fine, but I'm going to want more certainty before I take that kind of risk.
Sure. And there's some people out there that are, they might do it because the reward would be if it does turn out the way that you're predicting.
Or that money that they would use to develop it is such a small amount of their net worth that they're, the downside of it going bad isn't that great for them.
Sure.
For me, that's a big risk. And if it went bad, that would hurt. It would damage our reputation. It'd damage our ability to put group investment deals together in the future. My wife would be very upset with me.
Sure.
It's a big risk, and I wasn't comfortable moving forward.
Yeah. Yet, like maybe at some point in the future.
I'll tell you what I would like to do in Elizabethtown is if I could find 4 or 5 acres and do a traditional development there, as opposed to what I was going to do on 1 acre. I was going to go vertical, do 3 stories, make it one of these big, nice, new, all climate control.
Yeah.
That's about as expensive as you can do it. So if I could do more of a traditional model, it wouldn't cost as much. That might look pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we are kind of looking for a site where
Gotcha.
we could do that kind of analysis there.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense because in my head I had the traditional, but there are those, that does make self-storage look prettier because it just looks like another building.
Yeah, you can make it look pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's ugly is traditional self-storage, but just paint it pink will be good. All right. Yeah, stories. I want some stories.
Okay, so let's take a look at market and competitive analysis. In Elizabethtown, we made a list of everything. All the competition, they're pretty much all mom and pops. You've got some pretty good operators. You've got some newer facilities, but there's not anything that's just brand spanking new. It looked pretty good. And then we find out the rents are just pretty low. They're not very compelling. But then we go to Columbia, Tennessee. We do market and competitive analysis, and we start to find rents pretty good. Nobody has built anything since the year 2000. They're undersupplied, and they've got their own battery plant going there, 1,800 jobs.
Yeah.
That's still a big deal. That really moves the needle. And, you're 45 minutes south of Nashville. I start looking at that deal, and like I do the competitive market analysis, I start to get really excited. Like, this starts looking really good.
Yeah.
And it took a buddy of mine that lives down in Nashville and has his own real estate company down there. He was trying to get me to look at Columbia, Tennessee forever. I just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
It's like a town a little smaller than Owensboro, south of Nashville.
Right.
And then he finally got me down there, and I was like, man, lots of stuff going on here. So Columbia is how far you have to go now south for affordability. And last year, Oracle announced they were moving their headquarters to Nashville.
Oh.
I can't remember if it's 8,000 or 8,500 jobs. So just think about doing the math on that.
Right.
I mean, it's insane how many more apartments they need in Nashville.
Those would be non-basic jobs as well.
Oh,
yeah.
No, they're basic jobs.
I mean, that's what, yeah, basic
A lot
jobs.
of basic jobs.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
So the competitive market analysis, big check mark.
Yeah.
So then we go and we find a site. It looks pretty good. Price is really good. It's like 8.5 acres. We have some questions about the site itself, but we put this under contract. And then we went and met with the city. This is the political and legal. Will they let us? Yeah. This is how Columbia does it. This is unbelievable. My buddy who, does business down there, and we were going to partner in on this and do this deal. He calls me up. He's like, they'll only meet with you on Wednesday. It's like, what? Only Wednesday? He's like, no, don't worry about it. You'll like this. Here, if I need to go meet with the city, I'm going to have to go to one office and then the next office and the next office. And I got a number of people to talk to on a project, and they're not all in the same room. On Wednesdays in Columbia, they all get in the same room. You get an appointment and everybody's in the room. The fire marshal's in the room. The city manager's in the room. The planning and zoning guy's in the room. Everybody who needed to sign off on the deal was in the room.
Come on up here for tinking. That's good.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so we pitched our idea and our deal. Hey, look, this is where we're going to put it. This is what we want to do. This is what, and everybody goes around and gives their input, and they're like, no, this is good. The only thing we'll probably need you to do is because 2 of your sides are facing major roadways. We're going to need you to do something with the facade, with the outside of the building that's nicer than traditional self-storage. Yeah. Stucco, brick, something like that. We just need it to look nicer than normal. The fire marshal's like, look, we can do the fire hydrants here and here. And the city engineer's like, we'll need some retention work here. And
that's great.
1 hour, I was out of there and I knew exactly what I had to do. Yeah. It's like political and legal check. We already had the zoning that we need, so we didn't need to rezone it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. That checked out. We did the financial feasibility. That checked out.
Yeah.
This was going to be good.
I feel a butt coming.
There's a but because we didn't do the deal. It failed the location and site feasibility test. It turns out it was a dump site. So people had been dumping concrete and wood. So that's not insurmountable, but it is problematic. Yeah. And then we found out that 100 years ago, it was there was sulfur mining done there. I don't know anything about sulfur mining, but that sounds bad.
Right? Yeah.
We had some engineers come out and take a look at it, and they took some core samples and started to look like it was going to be $1 million worth of site work as opposed to like $200,000 worth of site work.
Yeah, big difference.
That changes the equation, and we ended up letting it go.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah.
But when we did our last group investment here in Owensboro, we bought an existing building. So it's not a development. I don't need to worry about zonings, building permits, that kind of thing. I'm buying something that's existing. It's cash flowing from day one. And here, when we did the competitive, the market analysis, market and competitive analysis, when we did that, what we found was the market rents in this submarket of Owensboro are about $19 per square foot. And what the rents were in this center that we were thinking about buying was $12.11 per square foot. There was a big gap there. I was like, I wonder why that is. And so, frankly, the previous owner had passed away. His family, it was kind of an ugly dispute over the property. And for a number of years, it was managed well, but there was nobody really driving, keeping the rents up with market rents and that kind of thing. And so there was an opportunity. I was like, well, does it check all the other boxes? Site, location, and site. Well, it's Walmart outlot. It's at Walmart shadow anchored, so it's in a great location. It's got a lot of traffic. The site is good. It's been proven at this point. I think it was about 10 years old, maybe a little bit older. So it's had a good track record of being a viable center. The political and legal, nothing really to figure out on something that already exists. I wasn't going to change the use of it. We're just going to try to operate it better. We're going to try to re-tenant it and push some rents. And so it checked all the boxes. When I did the financial feasibility of it and projected out, okay, if it takes me 3 years to get the average rent from $12.11 to $17.50, then I can probably take this thing that we bought for $3.5 million. I bet I can turn it into a $5 million center. If that's the case, then all my partners are going to make money. It checked all the boxes. And so we did that deal. It passed all the 4 feasibility tests. Where those 2 development sites, each one of them failed 1 test.
Right. We
didn't do the deal.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a mistake, but I sleep really well at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's worth a lot to me. So anytime, I've got a client looking at a deal, or we're looking at it, putting a deal together, we run it through this strategic analysis model. And if it passes these 4 tests, then we should probably proceed. And if it fails any of them, we should probably not.
Yeah.
And that's...
Even 1. Like if it fails 1.
Well, Elizabethtown and Columbia just failed 1.
Right. But it was the same one, right? Location?
No. In Elizabethtown, I had a hard lighted corner on their bypass, 1 acre on the corner. It was going to be a 7-Eleven or a Speedway. And I think Speedway and 7-Eleven merged. 7-Eleven merged with another big C store. You don't...
Oh yeah.
Am I that boring?
No, just 7-Eleven merged with Speedway. Was it Speedway? Maybe 7-Eleven merged with... It was just that part, Bo.
I'm just trying to be factually accurate.
No, I appreciate that. Let
me give you the short version.
Don't get in your head.
2 big convenience store operators merged, and this corner lot ended up being excess land. So they put it on the market. We put it under contract. Go look up the zoning. Well, we did this before we put it under contract, but didn't need rezoning. Sweet. Talked to the city. It wasn't as easy as Columbia, but will they let us, political and legal? Yes, they would let us. It was going to work.
But the
rents weren't there, so it didn't pass the financial feasibility test.
But I would think I don't know. As you can see, I can't let it go because we talked about economic-based analysis. That was the very first one. What that means, how you can predict future demand to make deals. We got that self-storage there, and the only one is the financial feasibility. Well, then why the hell are you doing an economic-based analysis if you're just, gonna, out of there.
Are you calling me chicken?
You calling me chicken? Dog.
Naughty. No, look, I want to do a project there. I really do. Just needs to be the right site at the right price. It needs to pass all those tests. And if I can find one where it passes those 4 feasibility tests, we'll do it.
Yeah. I can respect that.
And if not, the ones that fail, one of them, do you want to try those? You want me to kick those opportunities to you? No?
I mean, the thing is,
just say no.
Yeah. And under different circumstances, I feel like if I was in this business, if I chose that career path, I would be one that would, I'm just more riskier, I guess. Thus, the career I'm in. Jesus, talk about odds. Yeah. No, you're not chicken. You're smart. You're very smart. That makes me a little self-conscious, so I gotta poke fun at you.
I overthink, and I hesitate to pull the trigger.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I'm the opposite. I underthink, and I've got a
fire ready aim.
Not only that, it's a AK-47. It's a assault rifle
from the hip without aiming.
You pull the trigger and 1 million bullets come out.
Spray and pray.
Yeah, spray and pray. Yeah, that makes me think of that picture of Ben peeing.
Alice, could you find that picture? My son would probably. Alice, I'm kidding. Don't go look for a picture of my son using the restroom in a park.
Yeah, it's a great photo. There's such the P stream for all the listeners. The P stream was unreal.
Yeah, this was my 16-year-old son when he was about 3. Okay, so just imagine the little guy with his pants around his waist, with the little cute little guy butt, and this uncanny stream of urine. Like he could really cast that thing.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. Matter of fact, most people don't believe that picture isn't Photoshopped.
Right.
I can't believe we've been talking about urination
I can't.
for this long.
It's impressive, and I wanted to. Yeah, it's impressive.
I hope none of his friends ever listen to this.
I'll cut some of that out, like you describing the cute little butt.
Yeah, make that disappear.
I was like, yeah, there's a better way to say this. We're going to attract the wrong audience.
Yep.
All right, cool. Is there more to this?
No, that's it. It's pretty simple, and it's pretty simple to apply. You just need to look at those 4 feasibility tests, and they pass or they don't.
Is there an app for that?
Not that I know of.
That'd be.
I mean, a lot of this stuff is back of the napkin type stuff. Like you can figure it out pretty well. In fact, what a lot of people do is they'll make some assumptions and get answers on these feasibility tests really fast, so they can make a decision on whether they want to try to put something under contract. You get something under contract, you'll generally have a period of days called your due diligence period, where you take all those assumptions you made on the front end, and you go prove them out.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to investigate, okay, was that a good assumption? Let's find the real information, and let's turn this into something real. And you got a period of time to do that. If you were wrong about those assumptions, you can exit the deal during that due diligence period. And if not, you prove out like, okay, we made some good assumptions, or maybe we underestimated the value, then you proceed forward.
That is the scientific method. You have a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis to see where you're wrong or where you were right, and then you move forward.
Yeah. Except it needs to be repeatable. Well, every analogy breaks down at some point, but I see exactly what you're talking about.
It's like, the way you describe it, it's like, I got these assumptions. I'm making some decisions based on those assumptions. Now I've got this period where I'm going to test those assumptions to see if I was right or not. Yeah, that's a scientific method. Yeah. Who knew? Who knew, huh?
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
cool.
You ready for a quiz?
Yeah.
All right, pop quiz.
Can you beat my score? Bet you can't.
All right, tell me, what are the 4 feasibility studies that make up the strategic analysis model? I like how you covered your notes.
I covered my notes.
You're going to do this from memory.
Yeah. I'm going to try to do it. Yeah. Might not do it in order, but site location is one.
Yep. Location and site. Yep.
Political and legal.
Yep. Political and legal.
Financial feasibility.
Financial feasibility and
the first one. Hold on, give me a second.
Hold on, don't move.
Oh, where am I? There's Ben. I think I'm gonna have to look. Unless, like, is there a very, very small clue that might trigger my...
Well, I'll give you the first word and the rest will probably flow right. Competitive
markets. The market.
Competitive and market analysis.
Competitive market analysis. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Hey, nice job, especially for memory. I think we got to give you a yes on that one. Great.
Yeah, you must.
All right, you brought up something that I failed to mention, and so I'm going to ask you a question that we didn't cover. Which of the 4 feasibility studies or feasibility tests should you do first?
Let's see. I mean, I would look at the market. No. Let's see. Maybe. Yeah, is it poker face? Poker face you got there. Location and site.
Here's the answer. Or you want to guess first?
Yeah. It depends, is what I would say.
That is the right answer. It depends. It really doesn't matter what you start with. I could make a case for starting with all of them. So political and legal. Like if that's a hard no, you don't have to do the other ones. You can find that out pretty quickly. Financial feasibility, if you're going to do it for real, like not just back of the napkin, take some massive assumptions and you could do it. But you kind of need the competitive and market analysis. The outputs of that analysis are the inputs of your financial feasibility.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will make those wild assumptions based on their experience and they'll do a really quick and dirty financial feasibility. You know, if it's a hard no, like you don't have to do anything else. You know, some people might find the site they like. Maybe they drive by this site every other day, and it's just, they're like, man, that's a great site. I'm going to figure out something good to do with that. They might start there. So it absolutely depends.
I think if there's anybody driving around looking and being like, oh, that'd be a good site. That's a good site right there. They got to get a life. Like, go find a hobby. But that's you.
That's me.
That's you.
That's right. That's me.
Yeah, that's you. And that's why you live in a nice house.
Next question. What is the question for the feasibility test of political and legal?
Will they let me do it?
Will they let me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they being who?
Like the powers that be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ding,
The
ding.
fire marshal, commissioner.
Yeah. Whoever.
Yeah.
Yep.
You tell the mayor he just lost 12 votes. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Last question. These 4 feasibility studies, tests, competitive market analysis, location and site, political and legal, financial feasibility, they make up, what's the name of the model that they make up?
Will you say that again? The whole first part. I was thinking, do you know what I was thinking? We're playing a pop quiz. If you want to play any other ones or look at the other ones, there's one right here. I was like, oh, I should do a call to action here. So I missed. Ask
Okay,
the
here's the
question
question.
again.
The 4 feasibility tests, right? Competitive market analysis, location and site, political and legal, and financial feasibility. Those 4 tests make up what model? What's the name of the model?
Strategic analysis?
Yes.
Ah,
Strategic analysis model.
nice.
Beautiful. Nicely done.
Yeah, the essay. You can't really use that one.
All right. Well, that's it, man. That's how you make the decision. Do I do this deal or not? You apply the strategic analysis model. You run the deal through those 4 feasibility tests. And if it passes all 4, you might have a good one.
Yep. And that's also how you ace a Quickie Quiz.
Nicely done.
Cool. On the next episode, we got our first guest.
Ooh, that is correct.
That is. Yeah. Will you tell everybody who this guest is?
Yes. So back in the day, I had a client through the Mosmo group who I coached. His name was Eric Christopher, and he is a multifamily broker in Southern California. Actually has his own podcast. So we are going to do an episode. We're going to talk multifamily, talk Southern California. He's actually thinking about making a move. And so we're going to talk about some markets. And yeah, I think we're going to drop it on each of our podcasts. So
Yeah. And in layman's terms, he does all apartments.
Everything Apartments.
Yeah. Everything Apartments is his podcast.
I believe that's the thing. Yeah. Everything Apartments.
How exciting. All right, cool. I'll see you then in 20 minutes.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
There we go.
I love it.
Man, that's
It's good.
really good information.
Yeah.
Like for somebody to actually consider deals that way, that's good information.
Yeah.
That's a good episode.
You're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, leave us a comment of any questions. Please do all the things that podcasts ask you to do. And of course, you can find us on all these social media channels at Commercially Speaking. If you want more and access to bonus content or a place that shows you everywhere we are on the internet, just hit the first link in the show notes. But above everything else, thank you for joining Bo Barron, CCIM, and me, Timmy Barron, ADHD, the actor.